I'm Tom Dodson, Project Manager for Yana, and in this screencast, I'm going to show you the basics of how to install and configure Yana for your journal. I'm going to be using Printer's Devil Review, an open access arts and letters journal, to demonstrate the process. First, we'll need to download the latest version of Yana from the website. I'm going to save the file to the desktop and then unzip it. Let's open the Yana folder, and within that, the www folder, and within that, the journal folder. Let's open the index file in a web browser. I'm going to use Safari because it shares a lot in common with the browsers used by mobile devices. Here we see Yana's main menu, which includes the current issue, archives, and so on. The default configuration, Yana Demo Journal, contains mostly placeholder content. So if we navigate using the current issue menu item, we see Sample Article 1, Sample Article 2, and so on. We won't actually need to make any changes to the index.html file to change the information that it displays. Instead, we're going to make all of our changes to a different file. Let's go back to the Journals folder. We were looking at index.html, but now we need to look at journal.js. We can open this file in any text editor, but it's best to use one that will recognize HTML and CSS code and use different color for code and content. There's more about this in the Getting Started section of the Yana website. I'm going to use a text editor that I like for the Mac called Espresso. So the first thing I want to customize is the journal title. Right now, the title is Yana Demo Journal. So I'm going to replace that, the text in between the quotation marks, with the title of the journal I'm working with, Printer's Devil Review. Now that I've changed the title, I'm ready to take a look at the main menu section. Each of the menu items we saw earlier, current issue, archive, favorites, about, they're all configured here. Let's start with the first menu item, current issue. I could change the label, which would change the text that identifies the menu item in the application, but I'm not going to do that. Current issue works for my journal. If I wanted to use a different icon for this menu item than the default icon that comes with Yana, I could change this image section. The path here tells Yana where to find the image file to use for the icon. I'm not going to do that right now either. What I want to do is link this menu item in Yana to the content of the current issue of my journal. The easiest way to do this is to link this item to an existing RSS feed. Since I'm using an RSS feed, I don't need to change the type, which has already been set to RSS. If you're using Open Journal System, you should already have a pre-configured feed for your current issue, though you might have to turn it on. You can also write your own custom RSS feed or generate one using some other content management system like WordPress. I'll have more on configuring your RSS feeds in another video. I use the Drupal content management system to publish Printer's Devil Review, which makes it easy to set up an RSS feed for site content. I'm going to redirect my web browser to that feed now. Okay, there's the feed I'm looking for. So I'm going to paste that link as the URL for the current issue. I'm going back to journal.js and replacing the URL that's there with the URL to the RSS feed from my current issue. I'll now save journal.js to make sure the changes take effect. Let's see what we've got so far by opening up index.html again. Again, we're going to open it in a web browser. And refresh it. Notice that the title is changed to the title of my journal. I'm now going to click on Current Issue. And I can see that the content from Yana Demo Journal's current issue has been replaced with content from my current issue. Now I've already set up an RSS feed for my back issues, so I can go back to the journal.js file and set up the archive. Here's the archive menu item. All I need to do is replace the URL with a link to the feed for my old issues. And save the file. Now let's take a look at the search feature. If I had OpenSearch installed on my server, I'd be able to consult the documentation and figure out what link to place here to allow Yana to take advantage of it. However, for this journal, I don't have OpenSearch installed on my web server. Earlier versions of the Drupal content management system supported it, but it hasn't been adapted to the latest version, which I'm using to publish my journal. So for the moment at least, I need to disable the search function because it won't work with my journal. I could simply delete the section, but there's a better way to do this. I might want to turn this feature on later, and then I wouldn't have the code, so I'm going to do something called commenting. I'm going to place a /* the front of the section, and a * at the end. So this tells whatever software is reading the code to ignore what's in between those marks. In my text editor, Espresso, it actually grays out that text to let me know visually that this code is going to be ignored. So I'm going to scroll down in the file. I don't need to do anything to the favorite section. I'm going to skip the About section for now and take a look at announcements. Now, my journal doesn't really have announcements exactly, but we do have a blog. So I'm going to change the label of this menu item to blog. I'll also need to change the URL to correspond to where my blog is located. And save the file. Now let's take another look at index.html and see how things are coming along. I'm going to refresh. Now let's take a look at archive. So it's now showing volume 1 number 1, volume 1 number 2 of my journal, and the articles associated with each of those issues. Notice that this has changed from announcements to blog since I changed the label. And it now goes to the blog that I've set up for my journal.